Hey FlossTube, welcome back to the Basic Book Club. How have I started these videos?
Basic Book Club, I guess.
Okay.
That's how it is.
Welcome to the Basic Book Club. This is our end of November video.
Even though it's coming out the 5th. Tomorrow's the 5th of December.
Yeah.
We're filming on the 4th.
This book was The Keeper of Happy Endings by, who was the author? Barbara Davis?
I believe so.
No, the last one was Debra Webb. Yeah, this one's Barbara Davis.
Oh, did you find? Okay.
Yeah. I'm stitching on the hands-on design chalkboard ornaments. I'm doing the Believe ornament.
I'm stitching, it's in the plastic bag, the Santa's List Country Cottage Needleworks. It's in my plastic IKEA bag. Fancy like that.
Good job. We're a little bit late. We were a little bit slow reading the book this month.
It was especially me. Jorden was finished before I was because
I was just trying to not call you out. So,
well, I'm taking credit for it. It's fine. It is what it is. I apologize. I did finish it completely, and I don't know about you, but I can say for myself that I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I loved it.
I thought it was a great book.
read it completely in about 2 days because I just couldn't put it down. And so I listened to the audiobook. But I only started listening to the audiobook partway through. I had been just reading it. And they have 2 different people who read it.
Yeah.
For the different points of view. And the reader for Celine reads in a French accent. And I loved it.
At first, because I started reading it and then I was struggling. Let's be real. I have a hard time reading and staying awake at times, even if I enjoy a book. So I stopped with the actual reading and started listening. And I struggled at first listening to the reader with a French accent until I got used to it and in the rhythm. And then it was really good. And I enjoyed her.
I thought it made it very cinematic, almost I don't know, more immersive, I guess.
Yeah.
Quick synopsis of the book. It's about Rory, who is I think they said she's 23.
Was she that young? She was young, in her 20s. I don't know if she was that young. I can't remember her age.
Woman who had kind of gotten depressed, I guess. Her fiance was a doctor with Doctors Without Borders and had gone missing. And so it picks up about 4 months after he had gone missing.
Correct.
She has quite a strained relationship with her mom. And it deals with that in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. And then is also about Celine, who is a woman who escaped France during World War II and is a dress designer, wedding dress designer.
Yes.
So it
like hand-sewn wedding dresses.
Yeah. And she calls herself a spell weaver. And basically their belief is that if you were to wear a Roussel gown, which her family's last name is Roussel, at your wedding, then you would be guaranteed a happy ending. Which I thought was kind of cool.
It was.
So that's kind of the synopsis. It's there's not a lot of linear plot to the book. It's just kind of these 3 women interacting with each other and getting to know each other and stuff.
Well, yeah. Because it evolves, the story, the book, it all evolves the more they get to know each other.
Yeah.
And the more we find history in Celine. And then, well, because it starts out, you find, like, the present day with Rory. And her,
which the present day is 1985. So.
And her fiance gone missing. Mm-hmm. So that's the present day. And then we meet Celine
as like a
young
girl, adult teenager in France during World War II.
And then it goes through a period of time in those years, which I thoroughly enjoyed that part of the book. Hearing about Celine's younger years and her falling in love with
Anton,
and I like how she said his name in the book too. And then it kind of flips back and forth with current day Rory and current day Celine, which, how old was she? She was older.
Yeah.
She had retired from being a dressmaker.
Yes, because of the fire in her shop.
Yes.
And she had gotten her hands burned. And so she stopped making dresses. And then Rory had decided she finally wanted to open her gallery, her art gallery.
She's an artist.
And decided she felt almost like called to this building.
She had turned down several others, but then when this one was available and she saw it, like Jorden said, she was called to it.
And it happened to be Celine's old art shop that Celine owned.
Yes.
And decided to rent out to her. Oh, I messed up.
I gotta let my thread untangle. Okay.
I don't know where I'm at. Anyway, so there are
then Rory finds the box.
Oh, yes.
In
a box of Celine's
items.
Belongings that were not damaged in the fire. And so she returns them to Celine, who has kind of become a hermit with her situation with her hands and stuff. And they start to build a relationship. In the back of the book, there are some book club questions. So I thought we'd just kind of read through them, talk about them a little bit, and then kind of leave it there. Because
that works. Yeah.
I read through them before and I really liked them, and I thought it was great that there were book club questions.
Yeah.
Throughout the story, there is a significant friction between Rory and Camilla, which is her mother. Much of which stems from Camilla's need to manage her daughter's life. In what ways, if any, do you feel Rory contributes to the chronic tension between them?
My feeling is that Rory doesn't always communicate well with her mother and doesn't give her mom a chance in some ways. Like she shows up for Sunday lunch late, not anticipating to stay, and doesn't really, like I said, communicate.
Yeah, I felt that way through the book, and when I read the question, I'm like, oh, well, I was already feeling this way, so that makes sense. Because Rory definitely doesn't try to meet her mom halfway or try to communicate her thoughts in regards to her mom's opinions and stuff.
Right. Her mom voices her opinions, and if Rory doesn't like him, she just shuts down and doesn't really say, but then she doesn't give her mom a chance. Like, she doesn't express, so they don't have open dialogue.
Which, communication is kind of the key of any relationship. True. Whatever, friendship, family relationship, romantic relationship, anything. And especially in like stories and media and stuff, I've noticed that a lot more since getting married, that wow, the world portrays really bad communication in most like relationships. Grey's Anatomy is one that I think of a lot with that, but That's a whole different tangent. Celine's mother, Esme, believes that each of us creates a unique echo in the world, and that those echoes are constantly seeking their match in order to become complete. Do you believe such a thing is possible? I thought the whole thing with the echoes was so cool, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea that, like, every person has their unique fingerprint on the world. I don't know about the echoes finding their match necessarily. I don't know that I believe in, like, a soulmate type thing. But like, it kind of hinted at.
But right. I don't know if I am the same way with a soulmate or anything like that, but I do believe that we do put out certain vibes or feels or something.
Auras, energies.
Something, yes. And with that, we attract the person that should compliment us most. Like, I do believe you can attract both kinds. Oh, we got a stringer on you.
Oh, always.
Anyway, that's my feeling is by what you put out.
The law of attraction.
Yeah, is what comes. It's just like when it's like, okay, for example, when growing up and they tell you to be careful who you hang out with and how when you hang out with certain people, it brings out different aspects of a person. Sometimes they're positive aspects, sometimes they're negative aspects. I think that's kind of plays into my perception of, like, putting out your echoes there.
Mm-hmm.
Is like you want to put out your good vibes and find someone who complements your good echoes or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I loved the way they used it with Celine's dressmaking. I thought that was really cool because they had like a whole interview process before you can even get a dress from her.
Right.
But I loved the like imagery of it and the storytellingness of it, but it definitely felt like it fit in like a fiction setting, but in a way that it's like, oh, this is something we could like use in real life. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Like, just kind of keeping in mind the law of attraction and stuff. One of the threads running through the book touches on the tendency of daughters to repeat their mother's mistakes, especially in relationship matters. Have you or someone you know experienced this in real life? If so, was the pattern eventually recognized and broken? So, this question is because Celine and Anton met in France during the war, became part of the resistance against the Nazi party, and then she got shipped here.
He sent her,
he sent her here. He pulled all of his strings and connections and everything to try to make her safe because they had been found out. And she went to stay with his dad for a little bit in Rhode Island.
And siblings, yeah.
His dad and a sister, yeah. And then his dad, like, hated her and cast her away.
Okay.
And so she thought Anton had died.
Because the dad had told her that.
Yeah. So she went her entire life,
like 40 years,
believing that Anton was dead and she was just destined to be alone. And so it's not dissimilar from the situation with Rory and Hux having been taken, abducted, doing the Doctors Without Borders.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like parallels between their stories, which is why this question fits. As far as comparisons from mothers to daughters in relationships, I copied my grandparents in their relationship of dating for 3 weeks and then getting engaged and married real quick. And I mean, they're happy. They just celebrated 55 years? No, they will be doing 55 in 2 years.
Yeah.
So 53 years, going strong. Me and Alex are 9 and a few months. And we're still doing good. So
I can't believe you've been married that long.
Right?
I don't know that I copied anybody or that I know I can't think of anything on this particular question.
I can think of
like I understand where it come from in the book, but I can't personally relate.
The theme of chasing one's dream figures prominently in the journeys of both Rory and Solene. From an early age, Solene was taught that the work they did was a sacred vocation for which the Roussells had been especially chosen. And Hux once told Rory that the dream of opening an art gallery had her name all over it. Do you believe we are each given a calling in life, a talent or a gift that feeds our soul and benefits others?
You're waiting for me to answer. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think sometimes people don't know their talent, though, or don't realize their talent to benefit themselves or others. I feel like some people that finding their talent or their skill is a journey or a process for some people. But it's just like someone, that has the gift of singing or something. Look how music can transpose a person. Like, you think of a song from your wedding and it or something, and it takes you right back. Like, it affects and matters to people. And then also there's like stitching, for example, a hobby, or skill, but like just how many people in this community resonate on this together. I don't know. Does that make sense? Like what I'm trying to go for here?
Yeah, I think so.
Like it's, yeah.
I definitely think that we are all born with, like, I think we all have personalities already when we're born.
Oh, yeah.
We already have gifts and things that make us unique. I mean, I, like, even to think about, like, with my kids, when I was pregnant with them, at different times, obviously, 2 years apart, but they both acted very different. Like, they kicked very differently from each other and stuff. And, like, I think they had very different personalities from the very, very beginning. But they also have very different talents and stuff because of that. But I've talked to my mother-in-law about this a lot recently because my sister-in-law gets married in 2 weeks, and less than 2 weeks. I'm decorating the wedding. And my mother-in-law is just like, that's not something that I can understand, how to decorate, or how you, like, can have this vision of what you want it to look like and then figure out how to do that. That's just not something that it's
not in her wheelhouse.
Yeah. And then, like, we've talked about it, and she's like, how boring would it be if everyone was like me? And how boring would it be if everyone was like you? Like, it's important that we have that variety and those different talents and stuff in the world. But I also believe that anyone can learn to do anything, given enough time and the right resources.
Right.
And discipline and stuff. So, like, I think we all have talents, but, like, I think about some things too. Like, math was always something that wasn't very easy for me, but comes really easily for Alex. But if I wanted to, I could outmath him. It would just take a lot more work for me. You know?
Well, yeah.
It's just the uniqueness.
In everyone.
Everything happens for a reason is a commonly used axiom, particularly when events suddenly turn our lives upside down. Throughout the book, Rory and Solene's lives are upended by a series of unseeming coincidences, causing them to wonder if some unseen hand might be at work. Do you believe that certain things are meant to be, that some benevolent force is trying to guide us to our highest good, or is everything random?
I believe in it. I believe that there's something driving us and helping aid us in the direction we need to go. Random snippet that I have a friend who is going through treatments for cancer. She started out breast cancer, and now it's spread and it's in her lungs, and she's proceeding to go through treatments for that. But prior to finding out she had the breast cancer, her sister, who's also in my friend group with, is a nurse, and she was over 2 different ERs, 2 different hospitals, one locally. Like, she had to drive back and forth to the 2 hospitals, right? She decided at one point, hey, this is a lot, and proceeded to start looking for a job. She found a job at about a hospital in Ogden, 100 miles away, or not 100 miles, but a good hour away, and ultimately ended up moving to across the hill over to where my other friend lives. So she's within minutes of her sister now, and they lived a good half hour apart. Shortly, like within a month of her having that job, her sister, my friend, found out she had cancer. Rapid spreading cancer. Extremely, yeah. And she was going through setting up all the appointments they were advising her set up with all these different doctors, all these different tests and things. It was going to take my friend weeks to get through all of these tests, just so they could fully diagnose her. And you don't want things to take that long when you have a rapid spread cancer going in your body. And then her sister was able to, because she worked there, go through and align all these appointments for my friend and get everything set up for her, that she was able to do them all within a couple days. The tests, the doctor's appointments, everything she needed to get going on treatment. And I just feel like that was meant to be, for her sister to move, find this job that she loves, and find a home that she loves. Also had another friend that's a real estate agent that helped her do all that, to be close to her sister, be able to help her with treatments, and then also to be able to help her with setting up of all of the appointments and things and that she needed, and just be there for her. I don't know. That's just one example of, I don't think everything's always just random. I think there's a bigger, I don't know the word,
picture,
something in
plan,
yeah, in our universe. Like, things happen for reasons at times. Yes, are there just chance random things? Yes, but not always. I do think there's some greater good working for us.
I also feel like there's got to be something, because there's too many things that are coincidences, that it's like, this could be random, but why? And yeah, I mean, I have a friend that has a not dissimilar story. I mean, hers wasn't cancer, it was aplastic anemia, who she passed out in a grocery store in April of 2020. And it was because she had aplastic anemia, which meant that her blood wasn't making red blood cells, I think, at all. I don't remember. I've tried to learn a lot about it, and I haven't succeeded.
It's a lot.
But her immune system basically was trash. And if she had gotten even just a cold, it likely would have killed her. And so it was really fortuitous that everything started happening when everyone started masking up and not going to grocery stores and everything. So there was all of that, but then there was a lot of perfect situations that happened with her family in order for her to get a bone marrow transplant. And her one brother that she was a match for was living in Argentina at the time, I believe Argentina. And he had come home because of COVID and got home and was the only person in her family who was a match. And like, it was just a lot of
how the
really
stars aligned.
Perfect situations.
Yeah.
And like thinking about how easily she could not be here, and instead like she's doing well. She's still in recovery because it's a long road to recovery, but yeah, well, I definitely believe that there's something.
Well, and so to take that back to the book, how the stars aligned in this book, because we haven't even gone into the details.
Oh yeah.
So we kind of should touch base, I think, on the book details.
Yeah. So
how the stars all aligned and why that's a question.
Celine believed that Anton had died. And we learn through Rory wanting to surprise and like give a gift to Celine. She wanted to find a picture of him because Celine didn't even have a picture because it was the middle of the war. So she called a friend who worked for a newspaper and got a picture from the war, but also a picture from like 2 years ago because he was alive.
Yeah.
Because he had been like ambushed and basically left for dead, but then and
he miraculously survived.
Yeah. So like that's all exciting and stuff. But then Rory goes and meets him, meets his sister.
Yes. And in the conversation with Celine, in getting to know Celine also let her know that she had had a daughter.
Yes.
And
who had died.
Yes. So this woman come to America and had
lost everything.
Yeah.
After already coming here with nothing.
And then now Rory has gone to meet his sister.
And learns that she is Celine's granddaughter.
But the sister had just found out this information as well.
Anton's dad, who was a jerk. I hated him so much.
He was such an aggravating character to read, like the things he did and things he said. I was just like,
he was so mean for no reason.
The worst.
But he had just died, so Anton's sister Tia was going through and going through all of her dad's stuff, found ledgers of him paying off this facility for unwed mothers to say that the baby had died, and instead the baby was adopted.
Yeah.
That baby happens to be, which this is the part that I know several people said the book was a little too Hallmarky for them. And this is where it started to get pretty Hallmarky, but honestly, I loved every second of it.
It was an enjoyable read, even if it's Hallmarky.
Camilla,
but I do,
Rory's mom was that baby. So then, Rory obviously is the granddaughter. And she hadn't told anyone, but she wanted to go find Anton and see if he would come see Celine, because he had kind of become a grumpy old man because he believed that
he was just bitter and been hurt. And
his dad had told him
been an alcoholic and gone through, was now in recovery of that.
He had also not married anyone in the 40 years, but his dad had told him that Celine hated him because he was a cripple because of his injuries sustained in the war, and
he was shot in both legs.
Yeah. Basically, his dad really, really sucked.
He was a horrible person.
Took these two people who could have been so happy together and made them both be sad and alone for 40 years. On top of that, the parents that adopted Camilla were not very nice to her.
Well, they were like hoity-toity, and you had to live up to this last name, and
but they had
you were Yeah.
They had lost several kids before that, several babies. And so, and it's even, I think it's Camilla that says it, that her dad adopted her for her mom as a consolation prize, like for losing these babies. Yeah. And if that's the attitude they were going into adoption with, they probably should not be adopting kids. But they treated her like that. So like there's a whole lot of like sad stories that came from this guy being a really prideful jerk.
Right. It affected a lot of people's lives, which that's another thing you can take is
actions have consequences that are far reaching.
Yes.
Sometimes, not always. But anyway, so in the end they all like get together and meet and stuff. But while Rory is talking to Anton, she explains that Hux has gone missing, and he is very interested in that because since his situation, he became like an ambassador or an advocate for basically people who go missing that are like citizens of the US.
Right.
Prisoners of war and such things. So he ends up, because of that, like because of everything that's happened, he ends up calling and being able to find out that Hux has been found and they're getting him back. And so he shows up at the opening of this art gallery
where Camille and Celine, they've all become
there.
friends.
Yeah.
They've all created this relationship, and Rory's relationship with her mother is better with the three of them all together. And Camille, she's already told Camille who her mother is.
Mm-hmm.
But Celine doesn't know yet. So at this art gallery, I just wanted to make sure who knows what.
Yeah. He shows up wanting to just talk to Rory and ends up seeing Celine there. And, you know, there's emotions because, like, they haven't seen each other in 40 years, but they were the love of each other's lives. And then he had come to tell her that they'd found Hux. And it's just like all these perfect little things align in this book. And that does make it Hallmarky, but there are real life situations where stuff just kind of does line up like that.
Work out.
So.
But now these people had each other back in their lives. And Camille now has a mother, someone who she's already bonded friends with. It didn't start out friendly, but it did proceed to be friends. And then Rory has her mother and their relationship has grown and got better. And now she has a set of grandparents, and her fiancé is on his way home.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see the Hallmark aspect, while people would say that, but it was enjoyable to read. Like I thought it was sweet.
I was hoping for a happy ending to a book because I just
kind
of wanted that.
With the name
and that's the title of the book.
Right.
So,
you kind of anticipated a little bit.
Yeah. Rory tells Celine that she and Camilla push each other's buttons. Celine understands, but at times she seems to side with Camilla, perhaps because she had a similar relationship with her own mom. What parallels did you note in the relationships between Celine and Esme and Rory and Camilla? Esme we don't see a lot.
No, we don't. She's a small...
but she definitely spends a lot of time in the little bit that we see her because she dies pretty early on. Which is just in flashbacks. But she spends all of her time trying to basically tutor Celine into... I'm having a hard time seeing on the black fabric.
Oh, okay. I looked at Jorden right now and I'm like, hello, like she's not stitching.
The floor of the car is black. My leggings are black. I'm having a hard time seeing on the black fabric.
Oh. Okay, go ahead.
But Celine, that's much better. She spends all of her time trying to teach Celine like how to be this dressmaker. And it is similar to how Camilla spends a lot of her time trying to get Rory to do something. And I understand, like, because Rory's depressed, she's lost her fiance. Like, she's definitely going through something awful. And I can understand how she sees her mom as not being supportive of that. But at the same time, her mom is trying to
keep her doing something.
Yeah, an object at rest stays at rest. Object in motion stays in motion. Like, often, especially with depression, it's really hard to be able to do something.
To get into motion.
But once you do, it can help, at least a little bit. So I definitely saw the comparison between those two mother-daughter relationships. I do think it would have been interesting to see if that would have repeated as well between Celine and Camilla, if she had been able to raise her. But, you know, Anton's dad was a jerk. He made me so angry.
He was awful. Absolutely awful.
Okay, 2 more questions. On her deathbed, Esme tells Celine about the father she never knew, a man Esme loved dearly but sent away out of obedience to her mother. She speaks to her daughter about grief worse than death, the grief of a life half lived. How do you think these revelations affect Celine's choices when Anson suddenly reappears in her life? Have I been saying it wrong
You've been saying
the whole
Anton,
time?
and it's Anson. You're right. I lost that whole question.
I did too.
What? Okay, so
I'm trying to like even understand the question.
Well,
because I got thrown off.
I have a question just for you.
Okay.
Because I was still in the process of listening / reading when you were done with the book, or you were ahead of me part of it, and then you were completed.
Mm-hmm.
But when you were reading or / listening, I don't know, you kept sending me pictures and things of you ugly crying about the book.
Hush now, no one's gonna see those pictures.
I have blackmail evidence. Anyway.
They're bad.
But, oh, trust me, I've ugly cried, it's fine. But I want to know, like, what the ugly cry, was it when they rekindled? When you find out, like, I want to know what points was emotional to you, because I normally cry easily over things. And I actually didn't in this book, and I kept waiting for myself to ugly cry because of you telling me you had cried.
So when reading it, was really hoping they'd find Hux. Because that seemed like the obvious ending, right?
Yeah, well, and
the call would come at some point during the book, and Hux would be okay, and he'd be coming home. And so I was like, oh, that'd be great. And then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe I've read too many thrillers lately, but I feel like there should be a twist. Because a lot of thrillers have twists, and this was not a thriller.
Right.
But I had been thinking about that, like, what if there's a twist? What if that's too obvious of an ending? And so then I was like, well, what if Anson, not Anton, is actually alive? Like, what if we found him? That would be cool. And then I honestly hadn't even thought about the baby being alive still. But I did think it was weird that they didn't let her hold the baby. Like, I thought that was a real jerk move. Come to find out, it's because Anson's dad was the one behind that. And of course it was a jerk move, because he was a jerk.
Right.
I don't see any redeeming qualities about this man. But I was like, oh, what if Anson was alive? And so then when she was like, I'm going to call my friend and see if he can find a picture. And I'm like, that would be cool. What if he finds out that Anson's alive? And then he did. And I was like, oh my goodness, he's alive. And just thinking about like how exciting that would be for Celine, who has spent 40 years mourning the loss of this person. And then so like that moment got me when she found out. She went to see the sister, and then it was like, you're the granddaughter, and I was like, oh, that's cheesy, but that's cute, okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she was talking to Anson in San Francisco, and she was doing all of this without Solene even knowing that he was alive, and he was kind of a jerk. And
yes,
like,
he was. He kind of seemed like he turned into his father.
Yeah.
He'd been alone and miserable and...
Well, and his father was a jerk because his wife had died.
Yeah.
And I guess,
And they had a name to uphold.
Yeah. If you're rich and you have a name to uphold and you lose the love of your life, you become a meanie butt face.
Yeah, they the society stuff in times, and I know to some degree, like, I'm sure it still happens, but not in my world. But the name to uphold, like, drives me crazy because, well, anyway, that's a whole different, Anyway, continue.
But then, as I was reading, like, from about that point on, I was just so proud of Rory, like, opening the gallery and making progress, because, like, I totally understand dealing with the loss and shutting down and everything. But the fact that she was trying to do something, and she was kind of doing it in, like, to honor Hux in a way, because he had been the one to tell her, yeah, go for it. Like, this is a dream. It
inspired her, this idea she had. And, yeah.
And so, like, when she was making progress and she was doing these things and she was healing, I was like, you go, girl. Like, I was so proud of her that a few moments of that made me cry. And then just the whole, like, the artist pulling out, and so her having to display her own artwork. And then as the relationship developed between the three women, and, like, there were just a lot of moments that it was just, like, wholesome, and it made me cry.
Yeah. I did one thing. Well, the last thing I want to comment on that I thought throughout the book, I want to see Rory's art.
Yeah.
The description of these waves made out of fabric, and it's all hand sewn, and, like, all this stuff. Like, I would love to see that. Like, that's something I wish there was pictures of it, like an idea of it in the book.
Because they describe it, and so you can kind of picture it, but it's like, I want to know what it actually looks like.
Right. Well, and just because we like a craft that we do that is textiles and stuff, and her art is that, like, it just intrigued me. But overall, I loved the book. I enjoyed it. Yeah. I really did.
I had put it on my TBR list a while ago and was like, yep, we're going to do that one. So it was really nice. I enjoyed it a lot.
Especially because I didn't enjoy the previous book, which apparently we kind of missed some of that.
Yeah, apparently we totally misread that.
Yeah.
It's fine. I was listening to it really fast, trying to get it done. But
yeah, because neither one of us enjoyed it as well.
That is our thoughts on The Keeper of Happy Endings.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
I did too. It was a very good pick.
This month, we're kind of going to return to our thriller roots.
And which I thought we would end up having a lovey...
I wasn't...
or not a lovey, but like a happy, Hallmarky type because of the Christmas season.
Well, and I was looking for something that was around Christmas, and then they were all just like...
This is Audible.
I'm shutting that off.
They were all
just trying to get the picture up.
Hallmark books, and I was like, no.
The Christmas...
So, the book this month is called... Is it The Christmas Murder Game?
The Christmas Murder Game,
The Christmas Murder Game by Alexandra Benedict.
Yep, I'm bringing up a picture right now of the cover. That's why you've heard my Audible start.
This one is not on Kindle Unlimited, but it is...
Is that in the picture?
Yeah.
Probably glare, sorry.
It's not on Kindle Unlimited, it is on Audible. You can get it on Kindle still, though.
Yes.
The link will be the top link in the description box of this video. I'm really excited. It was described as a mix of like Agatha Christie and Clue, but during Christmas. And the front, I don't, because you're listening to the Audible. The front of it has a map that looks like the map on the Clue.
For which room?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no. So I have the book on my Kindle.
Yeah.
And then I have the Audible, like, because I like to do the combination of read and listen, whatever I have time for and stuff. And so I have both. And then it also has, like, the family tree and stuff. And so I was like, oh, I may have to reference that if, you know. So, yeah, I'm excited for it.
I'm very excited. It seems like a very fun read. It had really good reviews. It didn't have a lot of reviews. I think it might be a self-published or an independent publisher. But, yeah, I'm really excited about it.
So, join us for a Christmas murder game for December. And we will... Now, New Year's is over a weekend. That Monday, I work. I don't know. We're going to have to decide when we can get together to film our video on that one. But we will try to do it more timely than this month.
Yeah. So anyway, I didn't make a ton of progress. I went down.
I did these two presents. That present is started on the red. So all I have to finish this now is red and then the white. And I'm done.
High five.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. I hope you enjoy reading and can join us on our next book. And we will see you. I guess I'm on Instagram at Jorden X Stitch.
And I'm on Instagram at Jami X Stitch.
And that'll be it. Okay. We'll talk to you. Well, we're doing Flossmas right now. So we've got lots of like floss tube videos coming up every day. But we'll talk to you about books again at the end of the month.
Yep.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.